Let it be known that this is the first time I've ever remembered to record something without somebody reminding me. I'm grateful for it. So, what are we doing here today, guys? What are we doing here? We are here to learn about sales. We are here to learn about closing. We're here to learn about bridging the gap between where someone is and where someone wants to go. Now, there's this really significant resistance to the word sales. I feel like it's just in general, but especially with women, I think that sales is a very male-dominated field. And we've been led to believe that it's coercive, it's manipulative. And Carly actually used a word that really resonated with me that I wanted to bring up here. And it is convincing. Sales is not convincing. We should never feel like we're convincing, we're prying, we're trying to get something out of somebody. What we want to be doing is thinking about consulting, whether we are, you're going to see the framework that we're going to learn today. You'll use it in every session. You'll use it in every sale. You'll use it in every keynote. You'll use it in everything. There's just a pattern. But what we want to be doing is a few things. Number one, we want to be making someone feel safe. We have to make them feel seen, heard, and understood. Once we've done that, we can start asking questions and they will feel comfortable answering these questions. And then we will be thinking about these questions in a specific way to get to a specific result. The result is the solution. And the way that we do this, I'm going to go through the framework here in a second. But the way that we get there is by asking effective questions. But again, we can't do that unless we start making them feel comfortable. So we'll talk about that. But there's a quote here I want to share with you. I'm actually just going to drop this one in the chat so you can see it. It comes from Albert Einstein. And he says, if I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. This is the crucial principle, ladies. We need to understand the power of questions and understand that the potency and power and effectiveness of your questions is directly going to affect the potency and effectiveness of your results. Better questions, better results. And I mean this even when you're speaking to me. When somebody comes to me and asks, I'm struggling with this thing, what do I do? That's vague. That's kind of difficult. What we want to be doing is giving ourselves context, then stating the problem, stating what we've tried, and then stating what is the solution that I'm looking for. Then that informs me to give you an effective answer to say, okay, I've got all the information. Maybe I can ask a couple more questions, but now I can give you an effective result. I can give you an effective answer. So I always want you to phrase your struggles in the form of questions. And you have to be thinking about this when you're working with clients, when you're working with prospects, because again, we're going to be focusing on asking effective questions to get specific results from them. So we're going to get into connection. It's the first piece of any form of consultation, coaching, therapy, or sales conversations. I'm just going to use the word sales and understand when I say sales, it means all those things. Consulting, selling. I mean, you'll use it in dating. You'll use it in every situation possible. Sales is just the shortest word I have for this framework. I'll probably make up something later on, but I just want you guys to understand that it's showing up everywhere. So before I begin, what is it that you would love to walk away from today with? And what do you struggle with sales? So actually, here's a better question. Can you ask me an excellent question regarding your struggle or your desire when it comes to sales?
Okay, I'm a really good salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
That. However, it's when it comes to me.
Mm-hmm.
They're already primed, and then I just do my thing. I am not good at being out and asking people any questions. I just have conversations. I probably don't ask them anything. So it's just not part of how my mind works. So I think that some ways to think about asking good questions. I just feel like I hate it when people just ask a bunch of questions. It feels interrogating to me.
Yep, it does. Yes.
I don't do that. So I would like to know how to ask questions without interrogating.
Okay, this is good. That's good. We're not even gonna. I'm gonna go straight off of that end because that's a great leap into what we're doing here.
Great.
If you guys have more questions, we'll address those. I want this to be an open dialogue. I don't want this to be me talking at you for this period. The first thing we have to do is to create safety in any conversation. And we can do this in a number of ways. And whenever we're looking for truth, ladies, we can look at its opposite end. We use polarity to find truth. So let's consider when somebody's making us feel uncomfortable, when somebody's making us feel like this is an interrogation, when someone is making us feel like they're pushing something onto us, like they're forcing their own ideas onto us. Can you think of a situation where somebody made you feel this way and what they did specifically that made you feel uncomfortable or unsafe or interrogated?
When they don't share anything about themselves. And so it feels like they're only asking for vulnerability from you, but they're not providing it to you as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. This is good. What else? Give me more.
And it feels like they don't understand how to have a conversation without that. So you're right, Carly. It feels very one-sided. And then for me, I just disengage.
Yes.
It might take me a minute to realize what's going on, but I'll disengage and I don't want to be around them.
Yep.
I'm out.
Okay.
And I'm not curious about them.
Yep.
That whole thing makes me just want to disengage. It does not make me want to start asking them questions. It's just like, whatever.
Okay. This will be good. Say, give me something. What's something that someone does that makes you feel uncomfortable or unsafe in a sale or just in a conversation? Don't even think about sales things. What's something that even you think that you might be doing to make somebody uncomfortable or something that somebody else has done to you to make you feel uncomfortable?
Let's see. Just not having that conversation or not having like that connection. Getting to understand the other person. And it's more of like it's like more of like they just take. And it seems very exhausting just because it's like you're taking all my energy and I don't have enough to give.
Yes. This is perfect. Very good. So
can I just add one thing here that's not really it's related and not at the same time?
If you can keep it succinct.
Yes. Men often when you meet them and you go on a date with them, they do this. They talk about themselves. They'll talk about themselves over and over and over and over and over and not invite you in because they think that that's what it is. That's also very uncomfortable.
I'm so glad you said that, Anne, because that's exactly the opposite of what one of you guys had mentioned before, which is where it's interrogative. It's just bop, attacking, like just constantly being stabbed with question after question after question. It's a battery. It's an interrogation. Extraordinarily uncomfortable. Doesn't make us feel safe. And the opposite side makes us feel completely unseen. So we know that this side, where they only ask questions, that's annoying. And when they never ask questions, that's also annoying. So now we can start to see what makes us effective, because it could be a combination of the two. And there's a few techniques that we can use to create this safety. I'm going to take this a little bit slower. I'm going to go in depth with this stuff, and we're not going to get through everything today. I just want to start laying down some foundations for you guys so you can start applying this stuff in conversations this week, immediately, maybe even today. So what we have to do is first establish safety and comfort and connection in any conversation. We want to start at the base level to create that. And the base level of this is with our own energetics and our own belief systems. So if I already come into a conversation and I think this person is probably going to be annoyed by me, this might feel invasive, this might be so on and so forth, uncomfortable, they probably don't want to have this conversation, it's already going to be affecting me. So you can think, if I'm feeling like, oh, they don't want to talk to me, This is a person. And I'm like, how do you feel about this thing? You can hear it in my voice. How are they going to respond to me? They're not going to want to be talking to me at all. So it starts energetically. It starts with the belief systems. And I want you guys to begin examining your own life. And this is why it's so crucial to have your own experience and know the changes and transformations that you provided with different people in your clients, not only that, but also in your friends and just people into your lives. When you can come with this energy and knowledge that you seek to help people and you seek to create change in the world, and you have proof of you having done this many times over, then you know that you have the ability to speak life into people around, to deliver hope with every word. This is why it's so crucial for us to carry around this energy of knowing what it is that we're doing here. Again, your business is simply a stand-in. It's a projection for you to filter out all this energy to help the world. Nice thing about this is you also get paid for that. Can you guys hear that? Yeah, this is Berlin. I'll wait till, you know what's fucking crazy is there's like all these bicycles. Let me close the windows. Dude, there's literally like hundreds of bicycles, and a bunch of them had these huge speakers hanging on them. Techno music is fucking everywhere in this city. I really enjoy it. So anyways, we want to start energetically. And it's, again, creating the thoughts and creating this feeling and going into every conversation, knowing that you are there to help. You're there to, even at the most simple level, to make somebody feel good, to make them feel interesting, to make them feel charismatic, to make them feel like they are of value in the world. So there's a few techniques into just doing this. It's starting off every conversation with this intent. Every time I start a conversation, I'm always thinking of the first thing: how can I make this person feel as good as possible? So what are ways that people feel good? It's when they get to talk about things that they love. It's when they get to talk about things that they're interested in. It's things that they're good at. And we can find those things out with questions. We can also make educated guesses. So when I meet somebody, I almost always start off with some form. The entry point to any conversation is irrelevant. You can talk about anything from their clothing to something that they've got, something even around you. So you can talk about the weather as long as you can use that as a pivot point into something else. Once you're in, how you start the conversation is irrelevant. Once you're in, then you can begin navigating, then you can begin creating more safety. So we start off first with the intent. I want to make this person feel good. I want to get curious. I want to ask effective questions. Once we've done this, we can also consider other ways that I can make somebody feel good. So I want to project this energy. If you have the energy of knowing that you're there to get curious and make other people feel good, this comes naturally. But you can also be consciously aware of the external behaviors that cause this. One of these things is with body language. Doing simple things like turning our head to listen, showing our palms, using large gestures, opening our body towards somebody, opening our arms towards somebody, helps them to feel more engaged and interested. The mirror neurons in the brain react so quickly. If I feel safe in my body and I behave this way, it helps to make other people feel safe in their body. Because you can also imagine, if I could talk to somebody like this the entire time, it's going to be a lot less engaging for them because it's less engaging for myself. So I can always think about how can I bring more energy to this conversation. And I start with a principle I call match plus one. Match plus one basically dictates that I'm detecting this person's level of energy, and I can use my language, the complexity of my sentences, the specific verbiage, the level of gestures, body language, the energy level, the volume of my voice. And I just want to meet them where they're at. What that does is helps their brain to recognize this person is similar to me. This person is like me. Because of that, it creates safety. And once we've done that, then we can start pulling them into this other place. So it starts energetically, then it starts physically, with the voice, with the body, with the word. I go match, and I meet them where they're at, and then I start picking the energy up. And once we've done that, that makes them to feel safe. Again, we're not even talking about the words yet. We're not even talking about the questions yet. We're literally just talking about this basic fundamental principles of neuroscience. Question.
Okay, so are we walking around trying to have conversations with anybody doing this?
So I recommend doing this at every opportunity you possibly can. I've talked to you about this and about thinking about using this with the barista, think about using this with, your friend, think about using it with every person. And I literally do this as often as I possibly can. It's a practice I ingrain with everyone, because in my mind, as I told you, leads are everywhere. Everyone is a lead. Everyone wants to work with me. And I think I think that this is actually true, because I think of one of two things. If it's not them now, then it's them in the future. And if it's not them in the future, then it's someone that they know. And if I can't help them, then I can connect them with someone else that can. This is how I'm looking for leads for you guys. I'm always thinking, I've got a specific niche. I don't know anything about any of your specialties. So when somebody comes to me and says, oh, this is what's going on, I'm like, you know what? I think I've got somebody I would love to connect you with. Shay, like I told you, I got her leads just instantly the other day. I'm just having conversations, kind of constantly looking for this. Because the underlying principle, this is actually good, and I'm glad you asked that. Because the underlying principle of that is knowing that I'm here to help. And if I can't help this person directly, I'm going to find someone that can. And I think this is true of all of you guys as well. If I can't find a direct answer for something that you have, then I will go and find a specialist and I will pay them to teach me, or I will have them come and speak to you guys. That's what I brought Megan in for last week. It's what I'll continue to bring speakers in for you guys. So I'm always looking to create solutions. And here's the next part. Once we've created this sense of safety and we've entered the conversation with anything, we want to be thinking about, where do we go from here? So actually, before we even get there, I still want to go on the safety part, because there's something you guys mentioned several times. They feel one-sided. Conversations feel unsafe when they feel one-sided. Conversations feel unsafe when someone is not divulging aspects of themselves. They're constantly giving us or taking information and energy from us, but they're not giving us any. And we want this to be an energetic and equal exchange. So again, we use the principle of match plus one. So if I'm asking someone to be vulnerable, then I must be equally as vulnerable in that situation. And here's actually what's more important, is that you likely are going to need to be the leader in the conversation by starting with vulnerability. So you have to show this person that you have made a mistake, that you have a desire, that you have a fear, that you have an unfulfilled thing. And you can actually give them the opportunity. This isn't specific to sales, but you can give them the opportunity to become an authority to you, which creates a sense of connection when you ask someone else for advice. So then they feel connected to you and they feel safe divulging certain information later on. This is a great way to build trust with people, is by asking for their assistance, asking for their guidance, asking for their help. And the beauty of this, ladies, is that every person that you meet can help you. They have expertise in something that you don't. They have a connection to someone that you don't. They have a network. They have a background. They have education that you don't. I'm always thinking with every conversation, what can I learn from this person? How can I be a sponge? How can they contribute to my life? And how can I contribute to theirs? When you start thinking about this, it'll become so blatantly obvious that every conversation becomes a learning opportunity. It becomes an opportunity for you to practice these skills, and it becomes an opportunity for you to share and help other people. It's this cyclical behavior system that you enact with every conversation that you have. And we do that with, again, match plus one. You can start by sharing with some vulnerability. You can start by giving a story. You can start by connecting with this. Then let's say somebody does share something with us. And we want to make sure that we don't make it interrogative. We want to make it a little bit more natural. There's a specific framework that I use. I call it ASQ, ask. There actually might be a V in there, AVSQ. And you can use this in every conversation that you have to make someone feel safe, feel heard, validated, and understood in any situation. And the way that you can do that is with these steps. The first step being A, which is to acknowledge what someone has said. To say, yes, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely yes. In fact, I'm already going into this. AVSQ, acknowledge, validate, summarize, question. Acknowledge. And I say, that's an excellent point. That's an important thing. I'm acknowledging and validating the question. I try to do this with you guys on every, at the beginning of every session. When you guys come in with big feelings, I have to come in and acknowledge, first tap into where you're at in your body. How are you feeling? Validate that feeling. You have to validate that feeling. And it's only once we've done that, then we create safety in the body that we can move forward. If you guys come into my sessions and you're continuously repressing your own feelings, that is just requiring so much psychic energy that we can't focus on what it is that we have to learn. So you have to really connect and honor your own feelings. And that's what allows us to progress. You guys have all had this feeling on calls. You know, I think everybody here has cried on the calls. This is normal. It's just processing the emotion, which creates safety. It's this energetic release so we can proceed going forward. And we can do this with other people too. And we can tell we're not doing this when they feel like they're having to defend themselves, when they're having to prove themselves. When people feel like they're constantly have to play this game, like, oh, I'm better than this person, or I got to front, I got to stunt, I'm perfect. You know, I got to make sure that I seem cool, that I seem whatever. That's not helpful when you feel like you're in competition with somebody. And you can diffuse it, you can create the safety in a number of different ways, but just we're going to continue with this framework. We acknowledge what somebody says. We validate that feeling or that experience, that idea. Again, this does not mean that we're making them and saying this is absolutely true. We're just acknowledging and validating the feeling. All feelings are valid. It's just an experience. There's no truth to be found. Then what we do is we summarize. AVS, acknowledge, validate, summarize. To summarize means that I'm trying to consume what it is that they said and process it and give it back to them in my own words. And when I do this, it helps me to understand what they're saying, but it also gives them the opportunity to give me clarity. Because I can summarize and I'm just taking a guess, but if I'm wrong, then they can correct me. They can say, actually, that's not what I meant, or that's not really where I was going. And then you can actually ask for refinement. So I'm saying, okay, cool. Well, can you tell me a little bit more? Like, what exactly did you mean by that? Like, this is what I was assuming. In any case, if we don't at least try to summarize, then they don't get the opportunity to say, yes, you get me, or absolutely fucking not, or even listening to me. You have to at least try to engage in that conversation. This is what makes an effective conversationalist. You're trying to parse out what is it they're saying, parse out what is it they're not saying. And then at the end, we rail it back, or excuse me, we roll it back, we turn it around, and we give them the opportunity. And we finish with an excellent question.
Oh, there we have it.
Knowledge, validate, summarize, question. Have you guys seen this occur in conversation? I'm just giving it letters and giving it names, but can you guys see this? Can you guys tell me an example? Somebody share with me an example of somebody who's done this with you. Not me. Somebody go.
My therapist has definitely done this.
Yes. Tell me about them.
She listens really well. And I know that because of the way she will respond when I share something. She validates it. Then she uses her own words, which is usually a better she's summarized. It's more succinct than the whole paragraph I went on. And she nails it with very specific words. And then she asks a question to put it back on me and help me reflect in a different way on what all of that meant.
Oh, that, Carly, is so good. And I'm so grateful that you found that and something outside of business and one of the most important aspects of life, which is therapy. This is truly mastering. It's no surprise that you want to take your own business and inject it into therapy and use it at a higher leverage skill set to help people. So it's obvious to see, you know, the parallel here and why you would carry so much. Now, can you also see how you can apply this with your own clients? Pause. Do you guys see that I just used AVSQ right now with Carly?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm always using what I'm teaching with you guys. If you were to watch back every session that any of us will ever have, you will see every technique, every sales technique, every vocal technique, every behavioral change, every coaching technique in use in every conversation. This stuff is running in the back of my mind. I don't think about it at all. It just happens. Right now at the beginning, you guys are gonna have to be thinking about this stuff a lot, but eventually you'll get to this level faster than you think, as long as you just keep practicing, and it will just flow naturally.
Thank you for saying that, because it feels contrived.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
like I be thinking about all of that shit while I'm talking to people, but
you don't.
you know, okay, all right, I get it. I'm already doing it anyway. I didn't have the letters.
And we'll all have each other. You know, you've got the chat, you've got me and each other, and you'll be doing this for the rest of your lives. So don't think we've got to nail it now. I've been doing coaching for my entire adult life. I've literally done nothing else. So know that it just takes time, and it's a lot coming at you right now. So we're seeing ABSQ. That's how we avoid. That's how you become a good date. That's how you become a good therapist, a good consultant, a good coach. We want to be doing this because what we're doing energetically is helping this person to feel seen, heard, validated, understood. And then with the last part, with an excellent question, what we do is generate one of the best feelings that we can do to drive connection. Can anybody tell me what it might be? If we use a question, what do we generate a feeling of? Or what are we using a feeling of? A C word.
Connection.
We're getting there. What
Clarity.
do we use? Clarity. These are good, but they're not quite there.
Clarity. Compassion.
What do questions really invoke? A feeling of. It's a C word. Probably could have set this one up better for you guys. The C word is curiosity.
Curious. Okay.
When you can come with a tone of curiosity and a genuine energy of curiosity, and you bring that into your conversations, whether it be sales, coaching, consulting, or just in general, it makes other people feel interested. They feel interesting. They want to continue talking to you because you're making them feel like they're getting to explore parts of themselves, and parts of themselves that never get to be seen or experienced by others. So we want to make sure that we're able to do that at every turn. Have a curious tone, be curious, and think to yourself, how can I make this person feel good? What makes this person light up? I'm always on a treasure hunt with every conversation. I'm always looking for what is the thing that has the state change, a pattern interrupt, where they're talking like this and then they go, oh yeah, and then it's completely changed when they're speaking. They open up, their eyes light up, their tone opens up, and now that's when I say, okay, now we're hitting some gold. Whatever happens from here, I've done my job. I've at least made this person feel better today. And I try to do this with every single conversation as much as I possibly can. And in fact, I usually try and go, what's that?
If you don't genuinely have the curiosity, that's where the problem comes in. That's when the people are just asking you stuff and there's no curiosity behind it. There's something else that's going on with them. But I don't ask questions unless I'm really curious. So I mean, it's a natural thing that comes out of it, and that's it's just so interesting how you put letters to stuff that we do every day and don't even know it.
So
right?
I'm glad you said this one. I'm glad you said this one. Because you're probably not coming in with an air of curiosity because you have no reason to. You're just like, this is just a dude. Like, this is a lame, what is it? I don't really care. Because you've had no reason to. You've not met interesting people. And I will say that you've not met interesting people because you haven't been interested in finding them. I used to think that interesting people, are specifically, have a certain aspects about themselves, like they've got a cool job or they've got a crazy background or things like this. And I realized how limiting that was for my life, because then I said, oh, I'm only going to talk to certain types of people. I'm only going to entertain certain types of people. And then I started getting actually curious and learning more about communication skills. And now I tap on people all fucking day. And I look for excellent stories. I look for things that make them interesting. And I always think about what are better questions that I can ask? How can I ask a really excellent question here? And how can I tap into something, some hidden knowledge in this person? What can I learn from this person? What is interesting? Like, how can I find something cool? And when you start doing this, again, like I said, every conversation becomes a source of gold, a fucking gold mine of information. And then you just see every person around you not only is a source of information, knowledge, wisdom, and experience, but they can help you solve problems. You can help them solve problems. But ultimately, what it does is help you to become connected. And in these situations all fucking day. And again, to find truth, we look at polarity. How many people spend their entire day walking up and down the street, avoiding eye contact? They look straight down. They don't talk to people at all. And they go home, they go to work, they do all their stuff, and they just are bouncing between. They don't really interact with anyone. It's because they don't think that they're interesting. They don't think that the world is interesting. They don't talk to other people. And as a result, they become more isolated and more divided. This is why we're so opposed to people with different religious or political views, because we reduce them down to one specific aspect. But even if you talk to somebody who's dramatically different from you and you come with curiosity and you're like, what can I learn here? What's interesting? What lights them up? What do they care about? You find not only do they have interesting things about them, but you find that every human has the same fundamental desires. They want to feel safe. They want to feel connected. They want to grow. They want to learn. They want to share. And when you get rid of everything else around race or creed or political views, you see that every human is far more similar than they are different. Ladies, I'm grateful that you're giving me the opportunity to talk about this today, because this is really the reason I started this business initially. Yes, I love teaching all the things around business and speaking, but really it's driving connection. There's so much hate and loneliness in the world. And when you can learn skills like this, you become an agent of change, because you get enact this with every conversation, every interaction that you have. And you also have it with yourself. When you have feelings, when you have new thoughts, you can have a sense of curiosity about that and be like, I wonder what this anxiety is doing here. I wonder what this doubt's coming from. I wonder what this is doing. Can I get curious? Can I make it feel safe? The same thing I try to do with you guys on every call. Make you feel safe so we can progress. Instead of coming down and judging you for feeling a certain way and saying, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be feeling this way. Something's wrong with you. This is antithetical. This is what injects guilt and shame. We want to do the opposite. Create safety, create curiosity. We do that with our tone. We do that with AVSQ. And we do it with an intent to connect.
It's a practice.
It is a practice. And you do it with yourself and you do it with other people as well.
I was doing that when you told me to do that, talking to people at the grocery store and everything, and then I forgot. I just went back to my old self, right? But okay. I guess I didn't really know why I was doing it, even though it felt good. But I get it now. You've come full circle with it.
So you can see how this will directly relate. Like, this is just something I wish everybody could do. I wish I could just give a TED talk. There's another TED talk that I'll be giving on something else. But I just wish everybody knew this thing in general, that they have the power to change their own life and the lives of every person they interact with by becoming more engaging and effective conversationalists. Now we're going to learn how to fucking make money with it. This is really what we're doing here. So,
question. I love how there's like a step-by-step process of how to connect with other people. I feel like some people, when we do connect with other people, they're not being their authentic selves. So my question is, like, how can we break apart from hiding from behind a mask and be authentically as who we are, to speak in our own truth, but also bring that out from others?
This is good. Shay, God, if I could give you a sticker right now for asking that question, I absolutely would. Because you're delving into something that I think is even more important than us like turning this directly into a sale, or it provides itself for the foundation for a later sale. But it's understanding that every conversation, every interaction is an opportunity for you to consciously be making decisions. So I know that I can connect with anyone. If I had infinite resources in terms of time, attention, and energy, lock me in a room with somebody, I'm going to find a way. we're gonna, we'll cry or we'll laugh or we'll really get to deep sharing. But that's if I have infinite resources. So I'm constantly asking myself, do I want to spend more time? Like, is this really valuable for me? Do I want to be doing this right now? Is there someone else that I could be talking to? But you don't know until you try, and you don't get you need reps doing this with people that are kind of cutting themselves up, that aren't being inauthentic, to get better. So you want to have a mix. You want to have some fun ones. You want to have some business ones. You want to have opportunity, because just doing it with family members or romantic partners or anything like this. Because you need the reps, you need a high volume, you need to build this skill over and over. And the way that you do that is by getting to the point where you're like, no, I'm kind of pulling the plug on that. Or that conversation fried, I wonder what I could have done differently. Let me try something a little bit different here. What did I learn from that? How can I try something different? And we're not judging ourselves and be like, fuck, why did I miss that sale? Or fuck, why did I drop the ball on this conversation? We just want to say, it was interesting. Why did that go so well? What went well in that conversation? What did I do? What did they do? What did I pick up on that made me want to go deeper? What did they do or what did I do that shut them down or shut me down? And what can I do differently going forward? So going back to your question, Shane, what we want to be aware of is the fact that you can shift that at any point in time with someone else. So when somebody feels like they're being inauthentic, they're in what we call dorsal vagal state. If you guys are familiar, is anybody here with the vagus nerve or the polyvagal theory? Beautiful. So you have two states, dorsal and ventral vagal. Ventral vagal is when the social engagement system is engaged. And this is where we do feel curious, we do feel safe, our eyes open up, our voice drops into our diaphragm, we have larger gestures, our brain waves shift, so we're ready to learn, we're ready to share, we're ready to connect, we're ready to create. This is ventral vagal. The opposite is dorsal vagal. This is defensive. This is, I can't think about anything. I can't focus on fucking anything. I can't think about creating. I can't think about this. I literally am so fucking stressed out. I'm just trying to protect myself. I shut myself down and I'm just trying to survive. So I can't think about other people. I can't think about creating. I can't think about this. I largely can't even focus on anything. I'm filled with so much anxiety. And when somebody's in this state, we can do things to help them feel more safe. But again, we have to decide, and we've got to get kind of massage this conversation to see, how can I make them feel safe? And just as an example, when I called you the other day during the weekend, after you texted me the night before, and I said I needed to call Anne right in the morning, I knew Anne was stressed the fuck out. You sent me a message, and I immediately said, I don't think that this has much to do with me. I think that there's just a lot going on, and I need to make sure that I do whatever I can to make Anne feel safe. Because she cannot solve problems in her life, she cannot connect with me, and she cannot solve problems in her business until we create that safety. So I called, and I did not take any of her words personally. I just let them fall on me, and I said, give it to me. Tell me why you're upset. If you want to tell me you're upset with me, I'll do everything I possibly can to fix this. But I need you to vent and just get it all out on the table. And she cried, and all this came out. And then from that point, we got to fucking business. But we cannot do that until that person feels safe in conversation. So we can let them vent, and we can ask questions, and we can let them share to do that. And also, you can detect the defensiveness when people feel like they're trying to list all their accolades, list all their accomplishments. And one way that you can actually diffuse that, there's a couple ways you can diffuse that. You can actually check them on that. And this is kind of higher level. You guys will get better at it later. But you can kind of check them on that. If somebody is like, oh yeah, I'm freaking cool, X, Y, and Z, but you can also undercut them and start asking pride questions that really cut them down. I don't really recommend doing that. There is a time and a place that's appropriate to do that. I recommend actually doing this in sales conversations when somebody's trying to sell you. There's nothing more powerful than fucking turning the tables on somebody trying to sell. I do this all the time, especially with these fucking people that get in our DMs every day. I love when those people slide in. I fucking work those out. Every one of those is a great rep for me, but generally not conducive to connection. So what I can do is I can list my own, I can show humility with myself. So if this person feels like they're being authentic or they're doing this thing, then I can talk about some level of some mistake that I have, some struggle that I've made, something that I need help with. I can ask for advice. This decreases the dorsal vagal state and increases the likelihood of the ventral vagal state. So when somebody feels like they're being inauthentic, we've got to ask ourselves, why would they be inauthentic? Because they feel like they have to be something else in order to get approval, in order to be valued, in order to feel safe. With you guys, I mean, I would just say with most people, just in general, I'm not really concerned about this. I think this is what really people would say is confidence. Like, I'm not trying to front. I know who I am. I know there's a value. It's just not even a question for me. And I can also say there was a period of my life where I did feel like I needed to be charismatic. I needed to be smart, and I needed to be this thing. In a lot of ways, that showed up was with lying. I would embellish stories, and I would make myself seem larger than life. I'd make my life seem larger than it was. And this is completely normal. I would say I don't even have guilt or shame about this, because I was so scared. I was so defensive about who I was and my own accomplishments that I felt like I was not lovable unless people believed that I had executed on certain things, that I had certain accomplishments. So when I think about somebody trying to defend themselves being authentic or lying, I think of my younger self and how insecure and how terrified I was of social interactions, constantly thinking about, how do I make myself seem good enough to this person? And it was a long healing journey that got me to the point where I just said, I'm fucking good enough, and everyone's already good enough. And I want to make sure that they know that they're already good enough. They don't need to make a certain dollar amount. They don't need to have gone to a certain school. They don't need to have, whatever the thing is. You're already good enough. When I can express that and I can acknowledge it, and I can make other people feel safe, then they're allowed to be their authentic selves. And that's when they flourish in conversation. When someone else feels safe and they lower down all the defenses, and then we get curious, and then we get engaging, then we really get to tap into who this person actually is. Carly.
What if the defense mechanism is humor? What do you advise doing then?
Give me an example.
I've had clients with tarot who make a joke about things, and I can continue asking them questions that are personal, or I can go along with their joke. And sometimes I can tell which one I need to do, but what do you think is the most effective approach?
Before I answer this, Carly, what do you think? Tell me about what has been effective for you and what has not. Think about these times.
So generally, you have to go along with the joke to start with, because that's the validation. And then, and you kind of like let them know you're on that level with them. But then you also can't indulge them at that level and keep them there. It's like finding another way to more gently bring them into an honest conversation. So maybe asking a different question that's more gentle, that they may be more willing to answer.
So Tosh, you guys will meet Tosh. Tosh, I hope you're watching this right now, because humor is an expression of energy. And Tosh and I had a conversation recently. We actually did an IFS exercise, and she was constantly yawning. She was constantly stretching as we were doing this really deep internal upheaval, like trauma work. Yawning is a natural reaction. Laughter is a natural reaction. Crying is a natural reaction. This is just a way for the body to process and express energy. So when people use humor, they use it, I wouldn't even say as a defense mechanism, they use it as a way to process feelings. They don't know how to use it, so they want to use laughter, so they just use that. So it's perfectly normal. If we can detect that, then we can, yes, let them use that and help them use that. And we want to understand that it is we kind of tag that in our mind and say, okay, this person likes humor, so I can probably lean on that a little bit more. And actually, I would say match +1 here. What's the direction? Was that pretty dark? Can I actually darken it further? Can I share my own? Can I go even more extreme? A little bit. I'm not going all the way. But what you're doing is just risking. You're saying like, okay, I think this is what it is. Can I try a little bit more? Because then you get to detect, ooh, do they open up a little bit more? Great, we're going to keep going. Because then I go match +1, match +1, +1, and then they match +1, and then they match. And you can do this over again. And the beauty is that even if you overstep the bound, you can restart. and say, okay, that was a little too far. Let me go match plus 0.5. Okay, now we're back on the same level, and we just rebuild trust as we go along. So humor, I'm glad you said that, because totally natural. Use match plus one, detect that, and continue to explore. Continue to see how you can use this. Where do they think it's funny? Ask effective questions around this, and understand that humor is a really effective way to release energy, and it keeps it really light. When you feel like you're getting, sometimes when I feel like I'm getting too serious in the sales conversation, I just change the tone. I'm like, hey, what the fuck are we even doing here? Like, I don't know, this is just what I do this with myself when I'm like, block money and like all these things. I'm like, dude, you're literally just this tiny ant on this floating rock in the middle of space. Like, I'm gonna die someday and return to like infinite love and bliss. What am I even tripping about? That just makes it easier. And we can do the same thing with ourselves. You can use humor to release that, and use perspective shifting to figure this out. But if somebody's chronically doing that, Carly, then I would say that there's an opportunity to create more safety in the conversation. And understand that you can use humor to do this. In fact, yeah, I would probably recommend using their own tools with them. And if they like using humor, then continue with that. More questions?
I have another question, if I may.
Yep.
Can you clarify and give an example of the difference between acknowledging and validating?
Yes. That's a good question. That was acknowledgement. That was validation.
Oh, thanks.
Sometimes I'm going to feel like I know what I'm talking about. Shayla, tell me what's going through your mind. You can see a lot's processing here.
Oh, I'm typing notes. I always go back into the
Yeah,
your
you guys are
report
getting the
card.
transcript. You got the recording. You got the transcript. Just remember that.
Yeah. I honestly, I feel like I already naturally do this, but when I talk, like think about it, I get tripped up in my brain, especially the last part about asking the question. Like sometimes, like, am I asking the right question? Not the right question, but like the best possible question during that given time.
Yes. Okay. This is good. So I'm glad that you said this, Shay, because when we started this call, you did something that I really wanted to address, because it was the perfect illustration of what ineffective sales can look like. And I just want to iterate that you've done nothing wrong. We're just acting out of ignorance. You guys haven't been trained. You haven't been taught any of this stuff. So this is just a natural step. But when you're talking about human design, immediate jargon, immediate telling of high-level principles and details to which I don't understand, and I would assume that Anne also doesn't understand. So you're using human design speak on two people who have no idea what human design is. And Carly, again, this comes back to the convincing part. So I'm just gonna insert this, and we're gonna talk about this in the future. The principle that you need to understand is that it doesn't matter what you have. It matters what they need. What do they want? Do they even know they have a problem? Do they have a vision for their life? Do they have a goal for themselves? Some people don't. At that point, you just say, great, I'm not doing any of this. Do they want help with the goal? Do they want to continue this conversation? You're looking for implicit and explicit consent throughout the entire conversation. It can come in the form of energy. It can come in the form of us asking for permission. Can I make you an offer? Do you want my advice? Would you like some help here? If they start climbing up and becoming defensive, we probably didn't do a good enough job of making them feel safe. When you ask effective questions, when you ask great questions well, these are two separate things, ladies. You ask a great question and you ask it well. Again, the great question provides context, background, specific problem, and then adds the question. And when you, that's an excellent question when you ask it well, meaning that you use AVSQ method and you make them feel safe. Combine these two together, you'll get anywhere that you want to go. So going back to the human design thing, we first want to understand, I would say, you know, this is just an example. It's not even the best example. So I just want to use this as a principle. When we're talking about our product, we're talking about our offer, when we're talking about our service, we want to be asking questions to sniff out, can I help this person? What do they want? This is if you guys watch the reel that I tagged all of you in, where are you now? Where have you been? Where do you want to go? What's the limit? What do you need to get there? Would you like me to give you that? What's the last step? What's the next step? And I want to show you that that's exactly what we did today. Where are you at right now? I asked you guys, how do you feel about sales? You know, what do you want to know about this thing? Where have you been? What sucked? What made you feel comfortable in conversation? What made you not feel comfortable in conversations? Where do you want to go? I want to be able to create safety. I want to be able to navigate these things effectively. What are the solutions? AVSQ, so on and so forth. Where do we want to go? The next class, next talk that we'll have is going to be around using questions effectively to build curiosity. We can generate curiosity with effective questions, but we have to follow that format. And you can, I'm saying this is, again, is very meta because I'm using the techniques to teach you the techniques. Where have you been? Where are you now? Where have you been? Where do you want to go? What's the limitation? Can I give you the solution? What's the next step? So going back to Shay, when you're talking about human design, they generally aren't going to care about human design. I would say even with me, people even care less about money with their business. What they want is someone that makes someone that gets them, someone that speaks their language, someone that makes them feel safe, someone that makes them feel seen, heard, and understood. Because it's only when I've established that with my clients that I can help them. Because if they're going about and they're constantly thinking like, I don't know if this guy knows what he's talking about, or I don't know if he really gets me, then you guys just wouldn't listen to what it is that I'm saying. So I'm constantly working for your trust, both in your results, as well as using my voice, body, and word to create connection between us and create safety. And you want to be doing this constantly, all the time as well. And again, we're asking great questions to generate curiosity so this person feels engaged, so they want to know more. And I'm trying to listen. And I'm trying to say, can I even help this person? What do they want? Do I want to help this person? Can I connect them with someone else that can? And then once I've generated all that, then I can speak back to them with language that they use. I speak about their values. I talk about what it is that they care about. Because even if we think we care about tarot reading or business or human design or styling, we're always looking for a feeling. We're looking for a neuroendocrine cocktail. We're looking for a specific synapse firing, a sequence of synapses. We're looking for a specific neurotransmitter injection, oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine. There's all these. We're looking for a feeling. And we use words, we use money, we use relationships, we use sex to get to these feelings. So we have to be able to detect this. This is why I said we're going to talk about this in the next call. But we have to be able to detect what somebody is not saying. What do they care about? What is important to them? Why do they even care? Why do they want this problem solved? What is the problem costing them? Shay, I asked you these questions earlier. How long have they been spending trying to solve this problem? How many books have they read? How many courses have they taken? How many different people have they hired to do this? How much money have they wasted? How much do they think that they can do this on their own? And how long have they been believing that? And how much is that belief costing them over and over and over again? Maybe it's costing them sleep. Maybe it's costing them money. Maybe it's costing them time, progress in their business. Maybe it's costing them their relationships. But what we have to be able to do is to figure out these problems and what it is, why they care about it. Why do they want this thing solved? What is the pain point? And we have to dig and dig and dig and find that to really see if we, A, do I want to solve this? B, can I solve this? C, do they want me to solve this? And I can ask questions to pull all that out and lead them to the conclusion that, yes, this is a fucking problem. Because before, and most people think like, oh, it's not a big deal. I'll figure it out. Like, it's not a, no. People have serious fucking issues, but they don't want to be told that they've got serious fucking issues. I mean, I'll tell you guys, I got serious fucking issues, because this is the thing, like in therapy, you can say this because you have an established level of trust. But when you're talking to somebody like initially, you want them to come to this conclusion. And it's important for them because they come to the implicit body conclusion that they need help, that they do want it solved, that this is costing them a lot of pain, and it is causing them a lot of money. And they do want it solved. And not only that, but you can ask questions that lead them to believe that you are the solution and that they want you above anyone else. Of all the fucking ways they can have this solved, that they want you to be the solution. So this is where effective sales really occurs, because when you ask this well, people will be asking you for the solution before you can even make the offer. They'll start saying things like, well, what do you think? Like, you're an expert in this. What do you like? Do you have something? Have you ever helped somebody like this? Have you ever seen anybody work with somebody like my situation before? You know, so on and so forth. When you've done that, it's fucking over. And you guys, once you start seeing this, it happens all the fucking time. This is what we want to have happen. Every conversation, I'm always closing on something. Maybe it's the place I want to go eat. Maybe it's somebody that I want to date. Maybe it's somebody that I want to enroll for one of your businesses or my own. Maybe it's somebody that I want to get them to watch a TV show or a YouTube video or something like this. But I'm just trying to detect that and then make the best recommendation possible, because it's not always me. It might not always be you. But here's the beauty, is that we get to find solutions. So if we get to the end of that conversation and it's like, oh yeah, it's really something, I can say, you know, I actually want to learn more about this, so then I can go and consult other people. What do you think? Where would I learn this? I can talk to ChatGPT. I can research that. So the next time I come upon this problem, or I can reach back to that person, I can provide them with a solution and say, you know, we talked about this thing. I went and read a little bit about it, and then I came back, and then we've embedded ourselves as an expert in this person's life, in their mind, into their nervous system, because they say, this person cares about me. They care about my problem, so much to the point where they admitted with full humility that they didn't have an answer. And then they left this conversation and they spent time and energy doing research on my problem that had nothing to do with them. And they collected, aggregated, titrated it down, and then made a solid recommendation and explained why that was a recommendation. This is how you switch from becoming a coach to turning into a consultant. This is what we want, is you just use your business as the entry point to get somewhere, so that you can gain trust, so you can help more and more. And then people start asking you for more and more different things. And this is how you increase the lifetime value of your clientele. And
okay, this is so valuable. I'm really freaking out right now. In a good way. And, yeah. But I want to add, what's going on in my mind is that it's not that every conversation will yield something in business, but it has its own momentum. And you don't know really what is that saying? You don't know, you don't always reap where you sow, but what you sow, or something like that. So you just put it out there, and then the universe will match that, right? And so you're having conversations, and then it's happening, and you're getting things, and you're engaged and involved. And I have not been. I can just disappear real quick, or I can be totally visible. But now what you're doing, what you're engaging in me, is making me curious, where I have not been, about what's going on with people, right? Whether or not they become my clients. Just what's going on, you know. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because it's just a beautiful thing. Thank you. And the other thing is, I like seeing you walk around. I might have to rearrange my setup so that I can do that too. There's something really nice about that, rather than just sitting.
I'm enjoying it. I'm glad you said this.
Have a little instrument like that too. Something. Not that.
Yeah, I want a magic wand. I was just thinking it'd be really satisfying. It could be like,
Something like that.
shooting like sparks out of it. And I'm glad you actually said this because it's an important point. Because I know that we're here to make money and we're already generating revenue and we're getting clients. And, you know, the whole goal for everybody here is to get rich as fuck. But the reason that I started this was to do exactly what Anne just said.
Oh, are we in validation now?
Yeah, we're in validation and we're in expansion. So this is, you'll see, I'll explain what's happening here afterwards. But it's the reason I started this business. As I said, it's gone through many iterations to get where it's at right now, and your business is made do the same. But the fundamental principle still lies at the foundation. And it is this idea of what Anne just said. Being curious about other people, letting them express themselves and be honest and authentic about their experience of life, and letting them know that there's nothing wrong with them, that they've done nothing wrong, that they can share their stories and they can feel seen, heard, validated, connected with. Because this is a huge problem in its absence in the world, I believe it is a major contributing factor with the deaths of both of my parents. I think that if somebody was curious enough about their experience and about their situation and made them feel safe enough that they could express themselves and be heard, seen, and connected, that neither of them would have committed suicide. And my entire life is dedicated to keeping that from happening to anyone else. So while yes, you will get more clients. Yes, we will scale businesses. Yes, you will get on international stages and you will change more lives you can possibly imagine. I hope you are beginning to understand that you can have that change in more ways than you think. And you can do it every time you open your mouth. So I want to share with you this little piece there. This is how we finish keynotes. We always finish keynotes by bringing it home and taking it to a really high level. So we talk about a specific problem, we bring in something that somebody said or an experience somebody had, and then we take it to a high level principle about humanity and the experience, the values of this. And we want to leave people on a high note. So when they exit the talk, we get the standing ovation and they're excited to hear more. So now they want to follow us on Instagram. They want to get on a sales call with us. They want to work with us. Coaching is an extraordinarily vulnerable leadership role. You are, I think about you guys, I literally think that there's nothing in my life that is more important than you guys. And I treat these relationships with the utmost respect. And I understand that we get into very deep, powerful, vulnerable positions and conversations. And I honor that by making sure that you guys feel safe and wrapped up at the end. We want to provide a resolution. So I'm saying this, you guys, that I just appreciate you guys showing up on Mother's Day. I appreciate you guys showing up for your business. I appreciate you showing up for your clients. I appreciate you guys showing up for each other. You all have your same Telegram contacts. I will add Anne to the chat today. And I strongly recommend you guys start getting in conversations with each other. I have more clients that will be showing up on these calls in the future. But please, well, actually, I should say before we go, does anybody have any questions, thoughts, comments on anything we've discussed today or things going forward?
I really like this format.
Yeah.
Because other people ask questions and bring things in. It takes pressure off of us so we can process while someone else is putting something in. And hearing things that we talk about in the private sessions repeated, it just builds on it and it's really integrating now.
Yes. So I would say, Carly, that's great. And I want you guys to take it a step further and get on calls with each other. Start talking on Telegram, start asking questions, start sharing, start helping each other, start integrating your own learning, start taking learnings that you guys have had and sharing them with each other, because you guys will find that you are just as good of a teacher as I am. And you can help each other because each of you in certain ways are ahead of each other and behind each other. And you're able to help and be helped. And this helps to integrate and concretize all this knowledge and learning into your brain. The ability to teach is what allows you to truly learn When you contextualize things, you put it in your own language. It's called myelin. You create these huge myelin sheets in your brain. And yeah, it's really the best way to do it. So whether you're teaching each other, you're teaching somebody else, put this stuff into action. Don't let this stuff sit idle. And yeah, you guys are the best.
What is
What's
Telegram?
that? Telegram? I'll text you. It's the app. You've already downloaded it. One of the things we talked about in the first session.
Oh, it's like a text thing?
Yeah. I'll add you've already downloaded it. I already have your contact. We talked about it. I'll message you about it. You guys, please just thank you so much. You give me purpose. You just are the absolute lights in my life. I'm so grateful to be able to serve you. You make me better every single day. And it's truly an honor to be able to lead you guys. And I'm grateful. I'm thankful for that. Last thing, this is the first time we've been in a small group. Jay will be familiar with this. Ladies, you guys have never seen this before, but whenever we are in a group of 3 or more, I always like to close with just a little prayer. We bring our hands together, and we bring our thumbs to our third eye. We pray for a clarity of thought and intuition. And then we take our hands and we hold our hands, and we imagine that we are holding each other's hands. It is Carly's, it is Shay's, it is Anne, that is my hand that is holding yours. And we bring it to our chest at our heart. And we pray for heart-centered action. And on 3, I will count, and we'll say together. 1, 2, 3, together.
Together.
Ladies, enjoy your day. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.